So you know him, he's a familiar face on the show, he's well versed in a number of sporting codes, and so because there's so much sporting action taking place on Saturday and Sunday, we've got the MTN 8 semi-finals, we've got the cricket on Saturday, the rugby on Saturday, and then we've also got UFC on Sunday. We are chatting to Khanyiso Tshwaku, he's a sports journalist, he's also a commentator and analyst as well. Khanyiso, let's get right into it because we don't have a lot of time and we have a lot to get through. Let's start off with local football, the MTN 8 semi-finals between Orlando Pirates there and league champions Mamelodi Sundowns. Abdesalam Wadu saying that the fans need to just be patient, the wins will come. What do you make of this encounter coming up and then the other fixtures as well?
Good morning, Stacey, and good morning to the viewers. Look, I mean, it's all about patience, but I mean, fans, especially with what they've experienced under Pirates fans, what they've experienced under Jose Riviero, patience is not something they would have. I mean, I'm trying to think of a time when Pirates lost their two opening league games. And if there's one thing they want to win, it's the league, but also they still want to win the MTN 8. So it's going to be very, very, very difficult for Wado to try justify patience when the results aren't coming. Regarding the Sukune game, I think it's going to be quite an exciting game. I think the key part of the MTN 8 is that the top four teams, all the sides are actually competing in the semi-finals. So it's going to be quite an exciting weekend of football.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point there. And of course, yes, Mamelodi Sundowns come in as the Betway Premiership title holders as well. Do you think, though, at a very packed Orlando Stadium, the Buccaneers will be able to rise to that occasion?
Look, a Pirates team in Cup football is far removed from the Pirates team in league football. So it's going to be interesting to see how they actually go about this particular game. I mean, look, there's two legs. There's one here at the Orlando Stadium. They pack at Loftus next week. So, look, I think the key part for Pirates is just to avoid an away goal. I mean, Sundowns probably would be desperate to actually win the MTN, not because they are short on trophies, but they've grown an unnecessary bug in terms of not being able to win cup finals. I mean, they've lost MTN final, they lost the Nedbank Cup final, they lost the Carling Black Label Cup final. So there is a growing bogey with Sundowns and cup finals at the moment, and Pirates has been at the heart of that. So I think also for Sundowns beating Pirates will inform that, and also set the stage for the teams meet on the 1st of November in the league.
So let's move on to rugby news. I'm really intrigued in your perspective because I've seen so many conflicting thoughts around that. Some people are saying that the Boks are perhaps a little bit undercooked, not as prepared as they should be in their preparations. They also are questioning the depth that Rassie is apparently working on. Rassie has come back and his team have said they're working, for example, on a cluster of nines, that it's not about a particular standout player, it's about bringing skill sets to the squad. What do you make of what Rassie is currently doing, and then what are your thoughts ahead of tomorrow?
Look, I think what last year's results allowed Rassie Erasmus to do is to tinker with this depth and tinker with combinations. It's easier to develop a side when it's winning. It's when you're on the losing side, then it becomes a bit of a different story. Look, I mean, Rassie did make it clear on Monday that they'll always pick the form 9 when it comes to big games. But in terms of rotating players, I mean, remember, it's worth remembering that we're 2 years away from the next World Cup. And 2025 and 2026 are the years where a lot of experimentation needs to be done, so that when 2027 comes around, there is a nucleus of a match day 23 alongside at least a good 10, 15 players that are able to play test match rugby, because remember, you have to countenance for injuries. And the last thing you want is not to be 3, 4, 5 players deep in a position, because injuries do happen. And the last thing you want to avoid as a coach, especially at test match level, is to have 6 significant injuries. So I kind of see the path that Rassie is taking. And I think what also informs the kind of path that he takes is that he's got results that are working for him.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, so let's move on to cricket now. The Proteas obviously play the series decider against Australia. That's in their T20 International. Also nice to see Dewald Brevis come of age. What do you make of the management style between, with him and his career versus someone like Wayne Parnell, and him being so close to being under Vera Colley at the under 19 age, where Wayne Parnell was touring, traveling with the team, shadowing, to a certain extent, whereas Dewald, he's been managed slightly differently. Obviously, they've learned over the years how to manage their players better. What are your thoughts there?
I think the areas are different. I mean, one needs to understand the kind of work, the body of work that Dewald entered the world of cricket with. I mean, being a top run maker in the Under-19 World Cup. meant that a lot of eyes were going to be on him, and he had a quick acceleration into T20 cricket. And then it turned out that the development needed to be organic, where he had to go back, find his red ball roots, done well in red ball cricket, done well in 50 over white ball cricket, and then reassert himself as a T20 cricketer. One needs to look back at how well he's done in the 4-day series and how that filtered into the SA20 this season. It was a key part of MI Cape Town's success in the SA20. So now that's allowed his game to grow. I mean, Wayne Parnell's route was also quite organic. It's just that he played in an era where there was a depth of fast bowling and not a shortage of all-rounders. One need to remember there's also Jacques Callis was still holding forward as an all-rounder. So a place for him at the time was pretty different. But with the 2027 World Cup, it's very clear with Shukri Conrad and Patrick Moroney that they need to grow a nucleus of players around Leon Pretorius, Kwenama Parker, Diabal Brevis, maybe even to an extent in Ngaba Peter, to ensure that these are the players who will be stars for that World Cup, which will be hosted here in South Africa, number one. And then number two, ensuring that there's a team to build around for not just this coming 2025-2027 World Test Championship cycle, but the one that follows suit after that.
Awesome. Always great chatting to you, Khanyiso. Thanks so much for taking the time out to give us your insights here when it comes to Morning Live Sport, what's happening over the weekend. Plenty of action for Saturday and Sunday as well. We discussed the MTN 8 semi-finals, the cricket, the rugby. We didn't get time to go into the EFC or UFC rather.